All right, what's up, guys? Happy Sunday, happy Easter. And we'll jump in here, take a quick look at the economic calendar. Move myself over there. All right, the good old economic. So not too much tomorrow. A couple Fed speakers on Tuesday and then Wednesday. Wednesday, we hear from the one and only JP. 12 o'clock Eastern, and then Thursday, you got the jobless claims, and that's about it. With that being said, if y'all want to trade with me this week, be sure to check out the Mastery. We've got the $7 30-day trial. So as always, the link will be in the description. And then for the indicators here, we should be pushing the most recent update this week. Updates to the buy and sell signals, updates to the scans, the watchlist columns, the labels, all kinds of good stuff. But alrighty, so take a look here at the indices first. And for the IWM, we've got that monthly and that daily squeeze. So we'll take a quick look at these small caps. And I think potentially this could be a pretty big move. All right, perfect daily squeeze. Let me get my drawing tool here. All right, perfect 12 out of 12. We got the buy signals, we got the structure. It trades above the trailing stop, and we got the squeeze. But even better, the monthly squeeze. It's perfect. Momentum, structure, all the fixins. Now, granted, it's a monthly chart, so they can be a little bit slow. As far as the indicators go, that all points towards a move eventually into 240 and change. So not too shabby there. And then for the QQQ, a lot of squeezes here for the Qs. The 2-day time frame, the daily time frame, the 2-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, and the 5. So for the Qs here, the level to break, assuming things want to go higher, will be that 450 level. And one thing to consider, we get into mid-April, end of April. We're coming up on earnings season. All the big boys, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, they're all set to announce here, end of April. So there might be a chance. Daily squeeze here in the QQQ fires to the upside. You got squeezes in Amazon, a few in Microsoft, etc. All of these squeezes might kick off the run into earnings. Not a guarantee, of course, but I think one potential outcome. And for the Qs here, tomorrow morning, keep it simple. 5-minute squeeze fires long or short. That can influence the 15-minute squeeze. 15-minute can influence the 30-minute, then the 1-hour, then the 2-hour, so on and so on. The structure is good. It trades above that 21, trades above the 50, trades above the trailing stop, and we got a big 3 score of 10 out of 12. Could change, of course, but for now, we're in an uptrend. Indicators look bullish. I'd lean towards thinking they want to take it higher. We'll see if I'm wrong. And I am long the NQ. For full transparency. And then over here on the money makers, all the heavy hitters, Amazon. Amazon has a 2-day, a daily, a 2-hour, and a 1-hour squeeze. And like I said, 4, 5, 6 plus weeks out from earnings, when the leading names have these bigger squeezes, and Amazon's pretty clean here. Structure is bullish. We got the slingshot squeeze. We got a 10 out of 12. In the event they do fire, that could kick off a couple of weeks of upside into the announcement. So I think Amazon looks pretty good. And then Nvidia. Check this out. Brand new daily squeeze. Now at the moment, things are a little sloppy. Got a 1-hour sell signal, a 30-minute, a 5-minute. The way I see it is, Nvidia is one of the strongest names in the market. If they can keep it above that 21, keep it above that trailing stop, and then try to shift those lower time frames, cancel out that 1-hour sell signal, cancel out the 30-minute, and then bring on some fresh buy signals, that daily squeeze might eventually trigger the push into about 1,000 buckaroos. So I'm going to keep an eye on that for sure. And then for the rest of them here, what else we got? A lot of daily squeezes. You got one in Apple. Now for Apple here, not the best. far from the best. It's an A+ setup for a short. Big 3 score of -12. We got sell signals, we got the squeeze, the structure is bearish. It trades under the 200 SMA, the 50 SMA, the 21 EMA, and it also trades under that trailing stop. Now, for what it's worth, and we want to be a bit careful about thinking, I've got a tough time thinking the squeeze breaks short before earnings. But I think as far as a good idea for a long, we can do a lot better than Apple. Apple's a bit rough around the edges. And then what else we got here? Netflix. Little pullback in Netflix last week. And last week was a weird week. Market was closed on Friday. You had all that quarter end rebalancing. If they can keep it above that trailing stop, stabilize it, cancel out the sell signals, bring on some fresh buy signals, they might want to take that squeeze towards 650. If they shift that trailing stop in the favor of the bears, that squeeze could fire short, and that might take things down towards that daily 50. I think Netflix is a little bit of a hurry up and wait situation. And then I think Meta's a bit of the same. 5 out of 12, so kind of middle of the pack. Structure's neutral, the big 3 signals are neutral. Again, I think a little bit of hurry up and wait. And then we've got Crowd, Nvidia, Netflix, and that's about it as far as daily squeezes go. Now for Google here, Google's got a few bigger time frame squeezes. Now the daily chart, it's perfect. Perfecto. 12 out of 12. We got the buy signals. Structure is bullish. We are above the trailing stop. And then check out the 3-day squeeze. Perfect 12 out of 12. It is an A+ setup. And then on the weekly chart here, we've had this weekly squeeze for what feels like forever. September, October, November, December, January, February, all the way through March. Big old buildup of energy here on the weekly. It all lines up, though, in the favor of the bulls. 12 out of 12. The buy signals, the squeeze, the structure. And again, the whole run into earnings idea. You want to have a good setup. Just because Google has earnings in a few weeks, you don't blindly get long, you don't blindly get short. But a few weeks out from earnings, if you got the good structure, you got the squeeze, you got the buy signals, if they do fire that to the upside, that could trigger the push into the announcement. And I'd like to think eventually that squeeze takes Google to about 165-ish. So there's the big boys. And then for my open trades, where do we begin? We'll recap a few trades here real quick. We got a pretty good streak going here in the Mastery. So going back about a few weeks ago, we traded Bank of America here in that daily squeeze. We bought it right here. Caught our push, and we flipped that out for, I think, a 75% profit. We also traded Microsoft. Microsoft had the Slingshot squeeze. We took our entry right here. Caught our push. Caught a gap up, and we pretty much took our profits there at the highs. Not too bad. So BAC was good to us, Microsoft was good to us, and then we traded Best Buy. Not the sexiest name, but a sexy setup. This was picture perfect. Beautiful daily squeeze. When we took our entry, we had a buy signal on the weekly chart, the daily chart, the 4-hour. We had buy signals all the way down to the 5-minute. There was a 4-hour squeeze, and for what it's worth, Best Buy still squeezing up here. The weekly, the 3-day, the 2-day, the daily, the 2-hour, all cranking out that sweet squeeze. So that was a pretty good trade. And then last week we bought some Square and some Crowd. So SQ, I do think heading into this week, one of the cleaner setups. 12 out of 12 on the big 3 score. Got the buy signals, we got the structure, it's above the trailing stop, and it did fire that daily squeeze on Friday. buy signals on the weekly, the daily, the 2 hour, the 1 hour, the 30, the 15, and the 5, with a 1 hour and a 15-minute squeeze. So we've got the April monthly expiration 90 calls. And yeah, we're looking for a push into about 88 to 90 bucks. I think a good setup. And then we also bought some crowd. And like I mentioned, it was kind of a weird week. So I'm trying to take the action here in crowd with a bit of a grain of salt. Daily squeeze is not bad. It's a 5 out of 12. Could be a little bit better. What I've got to see tomorrow morning, ideally, they get rid of all the sell signals. They flip them into a buy signal. And from there, we're looking for a push into about 350. In the event it closes below the daily 50, I'm going to cut that trade off and move on to greener pastures. But yeah, we got some square, we got some crowd. And now for the scan results here, guys. It's a good problem to have. There's too many good-looking setups. TXN, Airbnb, Coinbase. I'll show you those bad boys. All right, TXN. Perfect daily squeeze or the squeeze on the 3-day and the weekly. Airbnb. Brand new daily squeeze. Perfect. It is an A+ setup. I like that one, and then Coin. All right, Bitcoin's having a pretty good year. All the crypto names are flying. So Coin fits the bill for sure. Good structure. Bull squeeze, buy signals, 12 out of 12. An A+ setup. I like me an A+ setup. So here's what I'll do. In the description of the video, I'll drop all the tickers from the scan results. Too many to go through in this video. But yeah, I'll put them down there in the video description. Y'all can check them out. Pick out a few that you like and see what's up here this week. And then on the Slingshot scan, got a handful over here as well. Big 3 Slingshot Bull. And later this week when we push the update, there will be an update for the scans as well. But for the Slingshot squeeze, got Amazon, Lilly, ABBV, TMO, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, ADP, ADI, and a lot more where that came from. Now, as far as Lilly goes, Lilly Bell, it's a pretty good setup. The only thing I don't love is trading below that daily ATR trailing stop. The trailing stop on my chart is the magenta line, and that'll also be a part of the update. It's just one more problem we got to deal with. If they can flip that trailing stop in the favor of the bulls, then I think from there you are off to the races. So that is that, guys, and then I got a couple requests here from Twitter. So we'll take a look here at Snowflake. We looked at Apple, we looked at Meta, we looked at Lilly. So we'll see, Snowflake here. Alright, Snowflake. For me, Snowflake would have to be a short. Doesn't mean it works, doesn't mean Snowflake can't go higher. But if I'm going to be a faithful servant of the big 3 signals, I can't buy that. Structure is bearish. It trades under the 50, under the 200, under the 21, under the trailing stop. It's got a sell signal, and it's a negative 10 on the big 3 score. If I'm going to get long, I'm looking at a Square, an Airbnb. I think a lot better names to pick from for a long. And then DHR. DHR's... I wouldn't short it, but I wouldn't buy it just yet either. I think a little patience here might be helpful. Big 3 score is a 3 out of 12, so not that great. On the squeeze histogram, momentum is below the 0 line. We've got no slingshot signal. The structure is neutral. What I would look for, couple of closes back above that 21 EMA. Try to get a few more lower time frame buy signals. And then as far as that daily squeeze goes, we got to get that slingshot signal. that blue arrow. Momentum below 0, it's not a deal breaker if you got the slingshot. If you don't have the slingshot, you could get caught up in a bit of a divergence. And then we got Autodesk here. Autodesk, I like it. Structure is good, 10 out of 12. It's above the trailing stop. As far as the timing for an entry, couple too many sell signals. The 1 hour, the 30-minute, and the 5-minute. There's a 30-minute squeeze, a 15-minute, so I think be patient. Let them cancel out the sell signals. Let them trigger a few more buy signals. And then from there, you try to take that daily squeeze towards 270, 275. But only when you get those lower time frame triggers. We looked at Meta, we looked at Lilly, and then Microsoft here. So as far as the whole push into earnings idea, it's got a good daily chart, 10 out of 12, good structure, and we do have a squeeze here on the 2-day time frame. I think pretty straightforward. Now, granted, a big part of Microsoft, Meta, Amazon is going to be the QQQ. And I showed you the squeezes there in the QQQ. If they can fire to the upside, then your Metas, your Microsofts, etc., they should follow suit. So keep an eye on the QQQ first. If they do fire, then I think possibly the 2-day squeeze here for Microsoft triggers to the upside, and that might kick off the run into earnings. But alright guys, I appreciate the Twitter requests. And if you're not already, give me a follow here on Twitter, or X, I guess we call it X now. And my handle is Taylor_Horton24. But alright guys, good stuff. And aside from that, have a great Sunday, happy Easter, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for pre-market prep. Adios.